Hello, welcome to Web of Stories. My name is Melinda and I am here with my November book haul. So it's over here. This is the top of it. I had to move it to the side. Remember when I was talking about mindful book buying? That didn't happen in November. There was a lot of emotional book buying in November. We all know why. We know. So yes, I have quite the haul. My whole goal of finishing 2024 with one less book than I started, that's not a thing that's happening this year. We'll try again for 2025. But anyway, I have quite a few books here. All but one of them are in print. So I'm going to start with the one that's not in print. Otherwise, I will forget about it. And that is one that I actually got for like a free promotion. Libro, like a week or so ago. Well, I can tell you what day. It was like the 22nd or yeah, around there. They had a selection of 3 titles that were like social justice titles. Well, one was Parable of the Sower, and then there were 2 nonfictions. And you could select those for one of those for free. I did not get Parable of the Sower. I already own it. Also not in a space where I can read it right now. But I did choose Mutual Aid, Building Solidarity in This Crisis and the Next by Dean Spade. So that's sitting in my Libro account. Not sure when I'm going to get to it, but I wanted to make sure I mentioned it because I have a bad habit of forgetting the non-physical books. So let's go into this very tall pile. Now, this first book I actually got at the end of October, but after I had done my October haul video. And to be fair, it is possible that I could have 1 or 2 books come in, well, 2 books probably, after this, but because of the holiday, I don't think it's coming until next week. So those would be in December. That's the way it worked out. And this is from my Book Club Magic used book subscription. They send me a mystery and a historical fiction each month, used copies from their shelves. The mystery, I could tell right away I was not going to read. It was like a Christian lit mystery, and no. So it's already in my little free library donation bag. But this one was the historical fiction, and I had never heard of this book. And it is Our Kind of People by Carol Wallace. So let me read the back for you. Helen Wilcox has one desire: to successfully launch her daughters into society. From the upper crust herself, Helen's unconventional, if happy, marriage has made the girl's social position precarious. Then her husband gambles the family fortune on an elevated railroad that he claims will transform the face of the city and the way the people of New York live. But will it ruin the Wilcoxes first? As daughters Jemima and Alice navigate the rise and fall of their family, each is forced to re-examine who she is and even whom she is meant to love. So, for fans of Bridgerton, which I've never watched Bridgerton, and that's okay. I mean, it's not my thing. It's fine. Never heard of this, but it's Gilded Age, and I kind of like Gilded Age fiction. I need to go back and finish watching the Gilded Age. So yeah, I will get to this at some point. And that was my first book. And then I have, that's in the wrong place. Sorry, we'll get back to that. This is the second time I filmed this video because I forgot some books, but also the cat was being annoying. So I decided to start over. I have 3 books I got for Book of the Month. So I got my Book of the Month selection, and then I got an add-on that I knew I was going to get, which I will get to that. And then I got another add-on because I couldn't resist. And I honestly can't remember which one was my selection and which one was my add-on of these 2, but here we go. First one is The Stone Witch of Florence. 1348, and you know I love historical fiction. Ginevra di Caspero has a gift by harnessing the hidden powers of gemstones. She can heal the sick, but when word spreads of her unusual abilities, she was condemned as a witch and banished. Now, as the Black Plague is ravaging Italy, the same men who expelled Ginevra are begging for her return. That's just the beginning. I'm not going to read the whole thing. So it's kind of like a historical fantasy. It's witchy. You know I like witchy. So yeah, I think this one was my selection. I don't know. It could be the next one. So the next one I have, I thought was historical fiction, but when I got it, I found out it was romantasy, and I've never read romantasy, so this will be new for me. And it is the first of the 2-book series, which I also didn't know. But it is The Road of Bones, book 1 in the Ashen series by Demi Winters. Thought it was historical fiction, so this is forcing me into new new areas of reading. I've never read romantasy, so this will be fun. And this is Viking romantasy, which is, I thought it was Viking historical nonfiction. But anyway, Scylla Nordvig is running for her life. The Queen of Ilsador has sent warriors to bring Scylla to Sunavik, where death awaits her. When her father is killed, his last words set Scylla on a perilous quest to travel the treacherous Road of Bones, a 1,000-mile stretch haunted by warbands, creatures of darkness, and a mysterious murderer, and go to Kopaf in the safety of the Shield House. So I don't know why I didn't know this was romantasy, but there you go. We'll try romantasy. That's something new. And then this next one is actually the next book for my marginalized authors book group. And I knew I was doing it, and I knew that I could get it as an add-on through Book of the Month because it was their book of a year a few years ago, and I'm one of the few people who hasn't read it. And that is The Heart's Invisible Furies by John Boyne. I really need to get to this because time. I need to have it read. I already have it tabbed up ready to go. I might start overloading myself to get some of this done, but I've heard great things about it. My friend who's in the book group has already finished it and said she loved it. So very much looking forward to this. Bookish Best Friend warns me that it reads a little differently now, but we'll see. This is what it says on the inside. Cyril Avery is not a real Avery, or at least that's what his adoptive parents tell him, and he never will be. But if he isn't a real Avery, then who is he? Born out of wedlock to a teenage girl cast out from her rural Irish community and adopted by a well-to-do, if eccentric, Dublin couple via the intervention of a hunchbacked redemptorist nun, Cyril is adrift in the world, anchored only tenuously by his close friendships with the infinitely more glamorous and dangerous Julian Woodbead. At the mercy of fortune and coincidence, he will spend a lifetime coming to know himself and where he came from, and over his many years will struggle to discover an identity, a home, a country, and much more. So that is this one. And then I was planning my 2025 reading, and that's not a word. I was planning my 2025 reading, and what I've been doing starting this year, being really mindful about it this time, is reading an Agatha Christie a month. So I was planning out what my next 12 Agatha Christies were. And I already owned a couple of them, but I wanted all the William Morrow editions because I want them all to match on my shelf. So I am participating in a gift exchange, and I had put them all on that gift exchange, except this one, that gift exchange is on Elfster, and it's linked to Amazon. And Amazon doesn't have this edition for some reason, but I could get it through bookshop. So I have The Hollow. This is an Hercule Poirot. A far from warm welcome greets Hercule Poirot as he arrives for lunch at Lucy Angatail's country house. A man lies dying by the swimming pool, his blood dripping into the water. His wife stands over him holding a revolver. So we know she didn't do it. As Poirot investigates, he begins to realize that beneath the respectable surface lies a tangle of family, secrets, and everyone becomes a suspect. So I can't remember when I'm reading this in 2025, but it will be read. And I since realized that I really am a control freak, and I want to make sure that I have the William Morrow edition, so I just ordered all the rest of them and took them off my wish list. So next month book haul will have all of those. Okay, then the next two were impulse buys from the little store in my public library. I just stopped by there looking for another book, which they didn't have. But then I saw these, and they're classics that I have wanted to read, and the print is not tiny. So I bought them. And they're both by Thomas Hardy. The first is The Mayor of Casterbridge, and then Far from the Madding Crowd. The only Harding I've read beyond his poetry, I've read Tess of the Dubervilles, which I do remember enjoying. So I am looking forward to reading these whenever. I don't have a concrete plan to read either of these. I don't know. Maybe one of them will come up for Misery May. I have yet to do Misery May. So we'll see. I mean, if not, they're there. But there you go. I couldn't resist. $3 each. Couldn't resist. Okay. Now, I'm missing a book. 1 second here. No, I'm not. Okay. So now we're getting into last Saturday. Which is not actually chronologically the big emotional buying thing, because those were ordered and they came in later. But let me show you what I bought last Saturday. And if you don't know what last Saturday was, that was the day when Bookish Best Friend and I went down to check out Grand Gesture Books in downtown Portland. And then we went over to Powell's, and you can see a little vlog of that. I will link that down below. I put that out. It came out on Thanksgiving Day. So I'm going to start with the books that I got at Grand Gesture Books, and I got 4, and there's kind of a story behind one of them, but I will save that one for last. And the first 3 I had were just sort of like, they looked good, and so I got them. Romance is not really my go-to genre, but whatever, I'll go try them. The first is Love in the Time of Serial Killers. Doesn't that look great? The rating's not great on Goodreads, but whatever, I'll give it a try. PhD candidate Phoebe Walsh has always been obsessed with true crime. She's even analyzing the genre in her dissertation. If she can finish, I had read that really badly. Let me just start that over. PhD candidate Phoebe Walsh has always been obsessed with true crime. She's even analyzing the genre for her dissertation, if she can finish writing it. It's hard to find the time when she spends the summer in Florida cleaning out her childhood home, dealing with her obnoxiously good-natured younger brother, and grappling with the complicated feelings of mourning a father she hadn't had a relationship with for years. It doesn't help that she's low-key convinced that her new neighbor, Sam Dennings, is a serial killer. He may dress business casual by day, but night he's clearly up to something. It's not long before Phoebe realizes that Sam might be something much scarier, a genuinely nice guy who can pierce her armor to reach her vulnerable heart. So that sounds kind of fun. I will say cover buy. I don't usually do cover buys, but this one was. I think Bookish Best Friend also bought this. And then the next one really sounded good to me, and when we were there, the owner wasn't there of Grand Gesture, but the bookseller who was there working said they could not keep this one on the shelf. So I'm probably going to hold on to it to next fall because it's a very fall book. My nose is itchy, sorry. Okay, itched my face. So Deja Brew by Celestine Martin. So a little trouble can be a good thing. Ex-celebrity chef Serena Caraway has had the wackiest October ever. Her cooking powers are on the fritz. She failed to land a career-saving job, and she embarrassed herself at the town's Halloween party. Just before midnight, she makes a desperate wish for a second chance to fix her life. The next morning, Serena wakes up and realizes that she's repeating the entire pumpkin spice-flavored month. Even sweeter, she runs into Gus Dearworth, whose magic leaves her spellbound. And that's all I'm going to read of that. That sets it up pretty well. So this is actually number 2 in a series, but I think they all stand alone from what I understand, so I'm not that worried about it. But this really has an October vibe, as you can tell. So I think I'm going to save this for October of next year, just to be seasonal. And the next one is also seasonal, but it's going on my December TBR. Kiss Me at Christmas by Jenny Bayliss. So, Christmas can officially get stuffed because Harriet Smith is not feeling bright and merry this year. She hasn't for a while. So when her daughter opts for a New York's winter wonderland instead of spending Christmas at home, Harriet finds herself seeking solace, starting with a wine-soaked one-night stand. That's a good setup. This sounds like it's an older protagonist, and I'm all for older protagonists. So, yeah, I thought a good Christmas romance would be a good deal. Now, the 4th book. There is a story behind this one. So, as I said, I'm doing this gift exchange, and there was a book that I wanted. And in my mind, I mixed it up with another book. I mixed it up with this book. And I saw it at Grand Gesture. I'm like, perfect, I'll get this book for the gift exchange, right? So I pick it up, and I go pay, and the bookseller there is like, oh, this is like the best book I ever read. And she's going on and on and on about it. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you like the book? She's like, I would have written like a shelf talker for it, but there were too many and I wanted to stand out. I just want everybody to read this book. I finished this book and I just turned around, and she's going on and on and on. I'm like, okay, well, apparently this person's going to like it. So I buy the book, step away from the counter so Bookish Best Friend can pay for hers. Open the app, and it's the wrong book. And I didn't have the heart to turn around and return the book. So now I have it, and I'm a little apprehensive about it because no matter how much this bookseller raved about this book, I've also heard not great things about it. So it is The Ministry of Time by Kaliane Bradley. I will give it a try. Again, accidentally bought this. So yeah, we'll give it a try. I am reading it because I didn't want to hurt a stranger's feelings. There you go. Okay. The final book I bought that day, well, the final book I bought for me that day, I bought the right book after that at Powell's. But the final book I bought for me was at Powell's, and this is one that I've been looking at for a long time, and then I just picked it up. My bookish best friend has read it, and she said it was really good. And this is Lavender House by Lev A.C. Rosen. This has a LGBTQ rep. I've heard a lot of great things about it, so I am interested in reading it. And it is historical mystery. Lavender House, 1952. The family seat of a recently deceased matriarch, Irene Lamontagne, there you go, head of the famous Lamontagne soap empire. This estate offers a unique freedom where none of the resident or staff hide who they are, but to keep their secret, they've needed to keep others out. And now they're worried they're keeping a murderer in. So that's the setup for that. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Again, I've heard nothing but good things about this, so I am looking forward to reading that. Okay, so the next 5 books are 5 of 7 books that I ordered on the Thursday after Election Day. It was the currently reading indie press list, and it got me at a time when I was just emotionally buying books, got to be honest. So yes. Now, the reason I only have 5 here is that there were 2 books that I went to purchase, and I noticed that they had paperback copies coming out in a couple months. So I opted just to pre-order the paperback copies. So I will get those in next spring. But these are the ones that I have now. And this first one was probably the only one that I bought like with a plan. And that is Hard by a Great Forest by Leo Vardiashvili. I think that's how you say his name. My library book club is reading this in 2025. So I knew I would be reading this, which is why I opted for hardcover. This is a Georgian novel. So we're going into Jim and Jim's book reading and stuff, his neighborhood, to read this one. And I've never read a book set in Georgia or by a Georgian author. So this will be really interesting. Saba is just a child when he flees the fighting in the former Soviet Republic of Georgia with his elder brother Sandro and father Irakli for asylum in England. So apparently we're in England, but it's by a Georgian author. 2 decades later, all 3 men are struggling to make peace with the past, haunted by the places and people they left behind. Oh, wait, we do go back to Georgia. When Irakli decides to return to Georgia, pulled back by memories of a lost wife and a decaying but still beautiful homeland, Sabu and Sandro wait eagerly for news. But within weeks of his arrival, Irakli disappears, and the final message they receive from him causes a mystery to unfold before them. I left a trail I can't erase. Don't follow it. Which of course means you're going to follow it, right? Because that's the way things go. So they go to Georgia. So I am really looking forward to reading this. I think we're reading it in like March or something. So whenever it comes up is when I will be reading this. There is actually a plan to read this book. Okay, and then I have, these were all impulse buys. This is The Honey Bus, a memoir of loss, courage, and a girl saved by bees by Meredith May. I am a big fan of memoirs. Meredith May recalls the first time a honeybee crawled on her arm. She was 5 years old. Her parents had recently split, and suddenly she found herself in the cave of her grandfather, an eccentric beekeeper who made honey in a rusty old military bus in the yard. My eyes. The first close encounter was at once terrifying and exhilarating for May. Everything she needed to know about life and family was right before her eyes in the secret world of bees. May turned to her grandfather and the art of beekeeping as an escape from her troubled reality. The bees became a guiding force in May's life, teaching her about family and survival, and it was doting this pivotal time in May's childhood that she learned to take care of herself. Part family story, part beekeeping adventure odyssey. The Honeybees is a rich and lyrical memoir of a girl who journeyed into the hive and found herself. There you go. I forgot to mention, these books came from Charter Books in Rhode Island. I will link them down below, but that was the indie bookstore for the month. I should have mentioned that. I'm sorry. So there's that one. And then I have Kala by Colin Walsh. This is an Irish mystery, and a lot of people have really enjoyed this one. So this one comes, I have a lot of confidence in this one. So in the seaside town of Kinlow on Ireland's west coast, 3 old friends are thrown together for the first time in years. Helen, Joe, and Mush were part of an original group of 6 inseparable teenagers in the summer of 2003, with motherless, reckless Kala Lannan as the gang's white-hot center. Soon after that summer's peak, Kala disappeared without a trace. Now it's 15 years later. Helen has reluctantly returned to Ireland for her father's wedding. Joe is a famous musician, newly back in town, and Mush has never left because their name is Mush. too scared to venture beyond the counter of his mother's cafe. But human remains have been discovered in the woods. 2 more girls have gone missing, and as past and present begin to collide, the estranged friends are forced to confront their own complicity in the events that led to Kala's disappearance. So there's that one. And then I had seen this one in other places, and I was intrigued by it. So when this showed up, I think this one was from the Best of the Rest list, but it is My Father's House by Joseph O'Connor. It is, I believe, the first book in a series. Historical thriller, Vatican Pope stuff. There you go. Makes me want to see Conclave, which is a movie I want to see. Haven't seen it yet. I mean, I just don't see a lot of movies, but there you go. Inspired by the true story of Monsignor Hugh O'Flaherty, who, together with his accomplices, risked his life to smuggle thousands of occupied Rome right under the nose of his Nazi nemesis. My Father's House is the extraordinary first installment in a trilogy. So that's all I'm going to read of that. That sets it up pretty well. So that is My Father's House. And then I have, again, don't know why I bought this, cover by Emotional Buying. Return to Valetto by Dominic Smith. This was a book page best book of the year. On a hilltop in Umbria sits Valetto, once a thriving village and hub of resistance during World War II. It has since been nearly abandoned. Only 10 residents remain, including the widows of Serafino, 3 eccentric sisters, their steely Centurion mother, who live quietly in a medieval villa. Then their nephew and grandson, Hugh, returns. But someone else has arrived before them, laying claim to the cottage that is Hugh's inheritance, and where he spent his childhood summers. The unwelcome guest declares that the Serafino patriarch, Aldo, a resistance fighter harbored by her family, gave them the cottage in gratitude. I'm sorry, the print on here is really small against this. It's hard for me to see. It's eye thing. The revelation unravels a secret, a betrayal, a disappearance, and an unspeakable act of violence that has haunted Valetto, across generations, especially Hugh's mother, who will answer for the crimes of the past. So that is my very emotional book buying month. I did just put a book order in, which included my Agatha Christie's for next year, but I'm not, other than I did a book of the month order, only 1 book. I'm not expecting buying a lot of books for myself, just because it's Christmas. I will be getting at least a couple gifts. So I don't know what other than a lot of Agatha Christie's, I don't know what to expect for December, but that was November, and yes, I need to reel it in, but we're gonna work on that goal for 2025 now, because I've lost it for 2024. Yeah. It's the world we live in. Anyway, that's my book haul for November 2024. Like, subscribe, join my Discord, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.